Okay, so trying something new that makes me sound less excited and out of breath, and more like how I want to sound on YouTube. So I'm doing a script method, having a bit more focused, less rambly. I'll find out in the end if it was worth all the trouble or not, and you can do the same thing in the comments. Now, on to the video. So, based on the script, Crashsune created an art challenge to anyone doing low poly 3D modeling. Having done some modeling after learning myself from this course, I had to get in there and compete myself. I can't let a challenge like that pass me by, and all the modeling and texturing I've done is not going to be confined to my YouTube page alone. The world is either going to see me win or die trying. So, once I saw the video, I got to work making something I thought would be cool. So, we start the pipeline by making a character and starting with a visual sketch. The goal was to keep the character in the same style of all DMC characters and make it so that if you take off the main defining clothing item for that character, they look like a normal person that could walk down the street. So like Dante, the jacket would do a lot of the heavy lifting for my character. I focused on making it kind of bulky and look more padded for protection than just be a fashion piece. I've always been more of a functional person, so if I can make a style have a function, it always makes that design a lot better for me in retrospect every time I look at it. I put a cool back design on his jacket so it wasn't just straight black for most of the angles on the character. You always want to make sure your art has some visual breaks in there, or else it'll look like a giant blob to your audience. Unless you want it to look like a blob. Then, ignore what I'm saying. But I finished the character off with some nice steel-toe fashion boots, some red to pay homage to his inspirations, and some metal gauntlets that will function as demonic playing cards and shoot them out with different elements. So each suit would have a different elements, like the spades would be air, clubs would be earth, and diamonds would be electricity, and of course hearts would be healing. Simple idea, sure, but someone always said, simplicity is the root of all complications. Once I got the character design down, I opened up my character sheet template that I made based off breaking down the Mega Man Legends male character model. It was the artillery guy if you guys want to check it out yourself. And I am just realizing that I never did it with you, like I said I would. Oh well, if you wanted to see it so badly, you could always download Blender and the models from the model resource yourself and find out. But we're getting off topic. I used the template as a base and drew my character on top of it, making sure to keep the design as cubic in nature as possible. The goal is still to copy that Mega Man Legends low poly style. This was meant to keep things simple and easy for me to move around later. While I was doing my character sheet, I wanted to retroactively be able to animate this character. So I wanted to give the shoulders more roundness so it looked nicer for animation. What inspired me to keep the shoulders rounded was a YouTuber, character designer, and animator, Race Wizard, and I'll have his link below in the description, and his character modeling for the girl in the yellow trench coat. I'll also link that video below too. Once you see it, you'll understand why I'm moving over to more rounded features for my characters. The goal is always to progress past the Mega Man style low poly modeling. I want to do more, I want to try and get into sculpting, I want to try and do some more animation. So I want my characters to have a bit more fullness to them. Once I was done, it was time for modeling. Like all things, with practice comes speed, so I was able to quickly model this character. I even started a new process of throwing emission shaders on my characters so that I would have an idea of what the final product would look like. I even got the shoulders rounded just right on the first go. It felt so good that I even started skipping sections of my model like the hands, and I ripped them off an old model that I created from Crashsune's course. If that's not professional skill, then I don't know what is. Yet, just like how practice makes one faster at their trade, their nemesis, experimentation, drives everything to a screeching halt. Like the rest of my life, when something's just too easy to do, I have to throw a curveball in there just to spice things up. So I decided to give my characters fingers. You don't understand the pain of having to model individual fingers. First, you have to find a video with the style of modeling that you want. And since the internet only believes in sculpting or low poly PS1 baseball gloves, it takes a minute to find someone who still believes in the low poly style. The algorithm is not kind to the old world, yet at the same time, the old world does not believe in progress. Even if it wanted to, it's still bound by its own laws on able to please its massive cultists, even if for a second it steps out of line. But luckily, Race Wizard was there to save the day again. It's a strange feeling saying that. I I don't know how to continue that sentence. Oh well, he showed a video on how to make hands, on how he made them, so I did my best to replicate his ability and his style of making hands while still kind of putting it in my own style and trying to see if I could make it work when it came to rigging the character model. It was okay, you know, it was decent. But I'm a bit of a perfectionist, you see, and as time passed, okay and decent eventually turns into this. So eventually I had to get rid of them. And I eventually just ended up reusing the hand models I did from Crashsune's course. It's simple, it works. My mind could tolerate the repetition of using something I've done before. But this was after the long battle with the jacket. That behemoth tried his best to make me want to restart this challenge. I know at first it looked easy to model, but a trained modeler can easily tell that I was giving myself a nightmare of a challenge to UV unwrap. So when you see a model of a low poly jacket, most models don't have a lot of actual polygons, unless they have some extravagant flares. So 9 out of 10 they flatten the details on a single mesh so that nothing is flailing around outside of the bottom of the jacket. And the texture paint is creating the illusion of a jacket having a lot more detail. That illusion is what gives you that feeling that there's more depth to this jacket. Physically and visually you're seeing this, you're going, oh, okay, this looks like this. And with a model being low poly, you go, oh, okay, this is representing this, so I can buy into this being representing itself as a jacket. Long story short, when you're doing low poly, you want to keep the mesh as simple as possible and not put a lot of extra stuff on there because UV editing exists and it is horrendous. So now we get to the fun part that everybody loves and it destroys the entire flow. That's right, it's UV editing and texturing. It's double the fun and worth all the late nights of struggling, crying, and just holding yourself in the showers. Every attempt to do one thing ends up with you reworking seams, restretching and flattening polygons, and moving these planes in a flat 2D square to make sure it all fits into one spot perfectly. It's already a natural horror on its own, and then I decided to make it worse with making weird shapes for my jacket. When I was marking seams for my UV editing for the sheet, nothing was making sense when I was trying to unwrap this model, and eventually there was too much of a mess to rework every time that it was a minor that I had to rework when it came to the jacket. Luckily, you don't get to see this travesty because the data got corrupted, but I learned the best way to make the jacket easier for UV unwrapping was to segment its parts, meaning I made the collar and the storm flaps into separate pieces. Not only was this helping me fix the topology when it came to the model, but I was also able to restretch and edit my UVs without having to redo the entire jacket every time. And yes, I did look up what that piece was because nobody knows the name of the storm flap when you point it out on a coat. And if they told you they did, they were definitely lying. Because I asked 20 people and no one had a single clue what that piece was called. Once the UVs were done, the hard part was over and all that was left to do was texturing. And that's pretty easy. A little back and forth between Clip Studio Paint and Blender, moving some UVs around so that way colors aren't stacked on top of each other. And we finished with a beautiful model. And then I rigged the character and added some details like a cool playing card and posing my character so he has a little bit of finesse and style to him. Is he perfect? Not by a long shot, but he was definitely worth the practice and the experience. I learned a lot from making this character, and I can't wait to do another challenge. So I hope you all enjoyed my process for modeling Devil Hunter D. Oh, so you thought the video was over, huh? No. I say when the video is over. I have a script now. I have the master plan, the keys to the kingdom, and you are just another fool that fell for the trap. Now, if you've been following my Blue Sky account, you would have saw that I completed this model a while ago. And usually once I'm done, I try to make the model in about a week, and then afterwards I try to make a video literally the next week after. That way I can kind of have a recurring back and forth schedule. and I usually try to post it on Fridays or some weekends or something like that. I forgot the schedule. But as you saw, it's been a minute, and I had a death in the family, and that kind of threw me off for a little while. I needed some time to process. So with that process, I'm getting back to the daily schedule. So currently Fridays every couple weeks, probably bi-weekly, I'll be posting more content on YouTube, so that way you guys are seeing my work, and then on my socials I'll be posting the models that I'm making. And let me know what you guys thought about this scripted version of my YouTube video. I tried to do something different. I wanted to, make sure it felt natural, just like me, but at the same time have a more solid tone. Something that sounds cohesive and not always just out of breath and rambly all the time. So yeah, so let me know in the comments. Also, I set up a Ko-fi page, so if you guys want to download the characters from the models that I made, I'm going to be releasing them there, and I'll be releasing them for free. If you guys want to donate anything, that would be great. Any support you give me in general will be very appreciated. And if I make enough money, I'd be able to do this full time, making models and teaching you guys, or at least giving you guys some good entertainment with these scripted videos. And yeah, it would be great. Now it's time to start getting into my next model. And I think the next one I'm going to make and post to you guys is going to have some more rounded features. So I'll see you in the next one. Peace.